Welcome to 2026, and we are well into the new year. I have some exciting news. Now, before I get into it, I'm back in the studio for a very short time, and then I'm going to be headed back down to Florida. Some of you already know what I'm dealing with regarding the family, so I'm not going to speak too much about it. But let's just say that I take the opportunity to do these videos where I can. Any case, this is the late breaking news. One of the things that I've been working on these last couple months is creating some visual charts to better explain and show the big picture of how the tax appeal works in Georgia. Now, some of you have already seen some of my previous charts, which I show the flow chart. Over time, I've realized that it can still be overwhelming to some people, but however, it is a roadmap. And I'm very proud of that flow chart because no one has ever made these charts before. So right now, I've not got one, I've not got two, I have three new arrow charts that I'm excited to show you. Now, I'm not going to go into deep detail in any of them. I think most of them are self-explanatory. And for people who are brand new, they can see how the Georgia tax appeal process works, all the different options, how deep it can go. So it's catered for people that need simplicity. They just need to be able to understand what's going on very quickly. And now some of you who are advanced, who are more experienced in tax appeals, I think you will find it handy when you show them to your friends and share it with others, or even just as a reminder to yourself. To be honest with you, because I live and breathe the Georgia tax appeal process every year, although I know it internally, it still helps me for be able to step back and see what's going on. No more wasting time talking about the intro stuff. Let me show you these brand new charts. The very first chart I want to show you is the Georgia property tax appeal milestones. Now, one of the things about the Georgia tax appeal process, it's actually very easy to get started. However, as you progress through the process and as you go deeper into the timeline, it can get a little bit overwhelming. So one of the things I want to show you is the starting point is the annual notice of assessment. It's actually coming next month for Gwinnett County, I believe. And then in a couple months more later, that's when an avalanche of these notice of assessments will be mailed out. So this is a good time for you to study this milestone chart. So from the left, basically when you get your notice of assessment, you have pre-filing homework. You got to assemble your photos, your comps, documents, generally your evidence of what you're going to submit for your appeal. Basically, you move on to, you file your appeal using the PT-311-A form. You wait for a TAL response, which is TAL is short for Tax Assessor's Office. And then at that point, if they respond to you, you will continue the appeal, right? That's something you will have to do. From there, you get a BOE hearing notice informing you of when this will happen so you can prepare. Then you attend the BOE hearing, and then you get a decision. Following that, if you're still unhappy with the BOE hearing decision, you move on to submitting a notice of appeal to Superior Court. That's the only way you're going to be able to get another bite at the apple, in which you get to the settlement conference. But of course, before you get to the settlement conference, you're going to get a settlement conference notification letter of when it will happen. Keep this milestones chart in handy. It's posted on my website, taxfreezecommand.com. Because these charts are so brand new, I always reserve the right to update them. So you'll notice on the bottom of the chart that I say it's a February 2026 update. So keep an eye whenever I make updates of when the chart was made. I try to get it right, but I always try to squeeze more information into the charts where I can. And of course, there's a reminder at the bottom that starting in 2025, you must have at least a $1 reduction from the value that was provided to you during the settlement or a BOE decision to get your 299C value freeze. The next chart I want to show you, I'm really excited about. This is a project that has been swimming in my mind for the last year or so. And it is the only chart of its kind. It's the only chart of its kind. I've seen nothing that comes close to it. It basically attempts to lay out what happens when you appeal to Superior Court. I can tell you the tax assessor's office will never explain it. They will never teach you. They'll speak in very vague terms. What I have learned so far, keep in mind, because this is a project that's still going on. I'm still peeling back the layers of all this mystery process, it's subject to change. The appeal to Superior Court stage is what I call the end game. We are at the very end. Once you enter it, it is your last chance to fight for the values that you think are right and secure your 299C value freeze. The start point of this particular chart is the BOE decision. Most people will never go past a BOE hearing, and so the BOE decision stands. However, because of what I've been through the last few years, because the system keeps pushing back, tax assessor's office is starting to weaponize the system, I've been forced to go deeper into the tax appeal process that I never imagined I ever would. Here, a quick overview: you need to provide a notice of appeal to Superior Court. You generally get 30 days after the BOE decision. Then you attend a settlement conference. Now, once you attend the settlement conference, you get a 20-day interim period. And that interim period I will get into later. But it is a period for you to reflect before you decide you're going to pull the trigger. If you decide to go ahead, you pay your $25 filing fee. To be honest with you, I think $25 is worthwhile to push it forward. But once you do, you start getting yourself into unknown territory. It's not so much the $25, it's what you do afterwards. Once you pay your $25, basically there is going to be some documents produced by the tax assessor's office. There's going to be a petition review, and there's going to be a record certification. Basically all the evidence that has been assembled so far for your appeal. From there, this is where it gets a little bit squishy and is not meant to be taken literally. There potentially may be interrogatories. Interrogatories are requests for information going both sides. Basically, it's trying to uncover all the relevant information that may impact the case. Any other evidence that has not been submitted to the record. From there, somewhere along the line, more than likely, you're going to get a lawyer involved. It's not a requirement, but at the very least, a lawyer from the county will start getting involved to represent the tax assessor's office, and that is why I have counsel appearance there. From there, there's the opportunity for briefs, motions, some minor hearings. From my understanding, again, it's a little squishy where my knowledge is right now, so it's a bit of a placeholder, so don't hold me to it. From there, you get a court trial, is my understanding. You either have a bench trial or you have a jury trial. And from there, if you make it that far, and I will tell you, most appeals never get to the end where the Superior Court makes a final ruling. The vast majority of cases never make it to court, to the hearing, and getting a ruling. That's why you'll see on my chart, there is a squishy period, what I call a potential settlement period. You can settle this thing. Either party can potentially settle the appeal anywhere along this timeline. Keep in mind, this chart was made February 2026. It is subject to update as I get new information and update the chart. And the final slide that I'm really excited to show you has to do with the 5 major stages in which a tax appeal can be settled. So it's a little bit different from the milestones. The milestones are each of the incremental steps. However, what I've done is stripped away some of those incremental steps so I can show you what the 5 stages are. A lot of amateurs, when they file a tax appeal, they file the PT-311-A form. It's super simple. You get it in within 45 days. And then lots of times the counties will respond to it. They will give you an alternative value. If they don't want to give you an alternative value, what they do is then kick it down to the BOE. For a lot of beginners, people get excited. They lowered the assessed value, and then people think that they get the 299C value freeze at that point. If you're fighting for the 299C value freeze, which I always recommend, you never stop at stage 1. So a lot of people learn the hard way because they don't read, they don't study, and it is what it is. They finish up at stage 1 and that's that. And they later discover next year, it's like, hey, my value went up again. Well, because you didn't go past stage 1. So stage 2 is the minimum that you have to go through in order to get your 299C value freeze. Now, it's a little bit tougher starting in 2025 than it was prior to 2025. you have to get at least a $1 value reduction. But if you attend a BOE hearing and you get a value reduction during the hearing, now during the hearing, you can actually have a conversation with the tax assessor office representative, and you can actually negotiate right there some value. If you succeed, you can end it at stage 2 and still get your 299C value freeze. For many, many years, I never had to go past stage 2. So unfortunately, one BOE hearing did not go well. I don't fault the tax assessor's office for that. It was just this very arrogant person who apparently didn't like my presentation style, who thought I was too timid, which is interesting to me. But in any case, it forced me to go further. It forced me to go into appealing to Superior Court, except that you don't really go to Superior Court. Basically, you submit a notice first, you attend a settlement conference, you negotiate it out, you talk about whatever you want to talk about. In theory, you're supposed to focus on the appeal only, but I will tell you conversations can go any which way. It can deviate because settlement conferences are a little bit messy, and this is part of the sausage making process of getting to an appeal resolution. And I'm happy to report, at least for me, I've never had to go past stage 3, the settlement conference. I don't go out of my way to go to stage 3, but I'm not afraid of it anymore because I've had to do it a few times. Starting very recently, I am exploring behind the scenes of what happens when you enter stage 4. This is more theoretical, some of it is research. This is not, at this point, firsthand experience, but I've done a lot of research. I've looked at court cases. I've interviewed people who are currently in this process. Basically, the appeal has hit the court docket. It is sitting there. It is being dealt with. As of this recording, that's all I'm going to say. What happens next, I will talk about in a future video. And of course, stage 5 is where you go all the way. Basically, you're going all the way, you're pushing your way through all the pretrial motions and all the discussions between the lawyers, and there's just no agreement. And you finally get to the hearing where there is a court ruling. And that is stage 5. So anyway, I think it's very important that people understand the slide. It gives you a roadmap of the path ahead should you decide to pursue it. So those are the 3 slides that I've been working on the last couple months, and I'm really excited to be able to share it with the world at large and the general public. So definitely tell people about these slides and help them learn about the Georgia tax appeal process. Now at this point, some of you are going to know what I'm going to say. My cat Lexi wants you to swipe that like button so you can help spread this video so that more viewers can watch this video and help more people. Part of that is I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. I'm well on my way, but I really would need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can join the YouTube partner program with this particular channel. So I have more exciting things to tell you in the upcoming videos. Stay tuned, and I will see you in my next video.